Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is SP Jimmy, and today we are going to be taking a look at the radiation melee power set that is available to brutes, scrappers, stalkers, and tankers in City of Heroes 2019. On this channel, I go through all of the primary and secondary power sets, giving you more information and trying to have it all come together in your mind so that when you go to play that character, you understand a little bit more about them. I have a lot of videos and a lot of more specific build videos if that's something that you're trying to specialize in. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and check those out. And let's get started. You are able to harness the power of radiation to crush your foes in close quarters. Radiation melee attacks have a chance to inflict the contaminated state on a target for a moderate amount of time. Powers that deal greater damage have a longer recharge time, and animation time have a greater chance to inflict contaminated. Hitting contaminated targets with contaminated strike, radioactive smash, radiation siphon, and devastating blow cause a portion of that power's damage to also hit nearby foes, so we will be reading about those. Radiation melee attacks primarily deal smashing and energy damage, but this set is also capable of dealing some toxic damage as well. And depending on which class you are, you get the abilities at different levels, but there are some constants and some differences. We see here stalkers don't actually get the irradiated ground that a lot of the other ones get, which is a pretty cool ability. So we'll be talking about some of the differences there as well as we go down. Let's read through for a Brute because it's just sort of the general combination of power patterns. At level 1, you can have Contaminated Strike or Radioactive Smash. Contaminated Strike is light damage, energy smashing with foe minus defense, and then your Contaminated Special. Radioactive Smash is high damage, energy, and smashing with foe minus defense and knockdown. Proton Sweep at level 2, which is a melee cone with moderate damage over time, energy toxic, foe minus defense and special. Fusion at level 6, which is a plus damage plus 2 hit, and we'll read about how that actually makes your contamination proc every time 100% for the next, I believe it is like 3 strikes or something. Radiation Siphon, which is a melee high damage energy smashing with foe minus defense, and it takes away, it uses the contamination that's already there. Now also, any of these minus defense abilities could be slotted with the Achilles heels proc for a minus resistance effect as well, but that effect does not stack. So you'd only want that on 1, maybe 2 if you could double up abilities that do minus defense. Probably an area of effect or the cone here as well. You get a standard taunt at level 12, and then you get the cool irradiated ground ability at level 18, which is a toggle minor damage over time toxic patch with foe minus defense and a special ability. Contamination. Devastating Blow at your tier 8 is a melee extreme damage energy smash with foe minus defense, disorient, and special. And then Atom Smasher is your tier 9 with player-based area of effect, high damage energy / toxic with foe minus defense, disorient, and special. It looks like scrappers get basically the same power set, except they get confront instead of taunt, so it's single target. Stalkers get a few different things. They get Assassin's Corruption at level 6. They get a straight build-up at level 8. They get Placate at level 12. Radiation Siphon at 18. Devastating Blow at 26. And then that Atom Smasher AoE at 32. So they're missing Fusion and they're missing Confront or Taunt or whatever it's called. And then tankers are basically the same as brutes. Maybe the order is different, but I think they have the same powers. All right. For your Assassin's Corruption, it's a pretty standard Stalker attack, but it is going to give them the contaminated effect while hidden, even if you don't critically hit. Well, you would critically hit if you're hidden. Let's try. Let me reread that. Using Assassin's Strike when not hidden will remove all stacks of Assassin's Focus, regardless if you critically hit or not. Assassin's Corruption also has a very high chance to inflict contaminated while hidden, and a high chance while unhidden, I should say. Hitting contaminated foes with single target radiation melee powers is going to cause a small burst of damage to nearby foes of the target that you hit. The Atom Smasher ability, you charge up a dangerously unstable amount of radioactive energy into a single fist before driving it into the ground and causing a small explosion. Foes caught in the blast will suffer high energy and toxic damage and have their defense reduced. Enemies also have a moderate chance to be disoriented for a short time. Affected enemies have a small chance to be affected by the contaminated effect. Hitting contaminated foes with single target radiation melee powers can cause that burst of damage to all nearby foes of the target as well. And that can take defense debuff, accurate defense debuff, and stuns in the set categories, as well as melee damage and taunt if you are a brute and a tanker. The standard buildup for stalkers to hit buff, it's what we would expect. Standard confront, contaminated strike. Looks like everybody gets that at level 1. Devastating blow, you hammer your foe with a brutal smashing attack charged with a lethal dose of radiation. Your target will suffer extreme energy and smashing damage and will have its defense reduced and will be disoriented for a short time. Devastating blow has an increased chance to critically hit. Affected enemies will be affected by the contaminated effect. For Fusion, Fusion boosts your damage and chance to hit moderately and also causes your next few attacks to have a 100% chance to inflict contamination on your enemies. Irradiated Ground, which sounds awesome to have that player-based area of effect toxic damage. While active, you will scorch the earth beneath you, leaving toxic clouds of radioactive gas in your wake. Foes that enter these clouds will suffer minor toxic damage, have their defenses reduced, and also have a tiny chance of being contaminated. So you can even just spread the contamination by standing next to them, and that is not available to stalkers, just to brutes, scrappers, and tanks at the levels indicated there. That can have defense debuff, accurate defense debuff. Oh, that's so fantastic. You get the standard placate at 12 for Stalker. Proton Sweep, you release a cloud of deadly radioactive particles in front of you, dealing moderate energy and toxic damage over a short time, as well as reducing the target's defense. And they get contaminated, pretty standard. And then the Radiation Siphon, you pummel your foe with a deadly smashing attack, dealing high energy damage and smashing damage and reducing their defense. And then hitting contaminated targets will also heal you for a large amount of health over 3 seconds and remove the contaminated effect from the target. However, uncontaminated targets have a moderate chance to be affected by the contaminated effect. Hitting contaminated foes with a single target radiation melee power causes that to deal damage near them. And we see that that takes defense debuff, accurate defense debuff, healing, and accurate healing, because you're actually healing off of them, so you could get Touch of the Nictus or something like that. Radioactive Smash, the standard one at the beginning, standard taunt, and it looks like that just about covers radiation melee. So let me know down in the comments if you guys have a specific build for radiation melee that you would like to see. Maybe I will link you one of my builds, or I will include it in one of the upcoming videos. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I will see you all in a little bit.